Good afternoon and welcome to another Let's Play on Gary Mick Live channel. Today we are actually playing one of my favourite games of all time, Soul Reaver. Now Soul Reaver is kind of been lost to the past. It hasn't really been mentioned recently and it's a shame because I really love it. I even have a tattoo of Raziel's symbol, who's the main character of this game, on my arm, just to dedicate the fact that I'm a fanboy and I just love the game so much. Either way, we're going to be diving into it today. Today we're playing it on RetroArch. I don't know what it's called. It's an emulator for Dreamcast. I've never played the Dreamcast version before. From what I understand, it's basically just like the PC version, but with Soul Reaver 2 models or something. The original model of Raziel in Soul Reaver 1 is like really kind of like duck-faced, I guess. It's not a good model, but in this version they actually updated it to have the Soul Reaver 2 model, which is really nice, and it makes it kind of look a bit more consistent. And it's same with Kain, who's like another character of the game. He has Soul Reaver 2 textures on him. I don't think it's a different model. Raziel has a completely different model. I'm not sure about Kain. I think he's just got better textures. Either way, we're going to be getting into it today. One thing I have noticed though, in the PS1 version of this main menu, like the statues on the side move, whereas in this one they aren't. I don't know if that's maybe just a bug of the emulator or what. I mean, it is working on the screen, so I don't know. Maybe it's a bug, maybe it's not supposed to move. I don't know. It looked better with the moving characters and the kind of like shifting into vampires and stuff like that. Either way, this playthrough is going to have a lot of talking in it, so I'm only going to talk during gameplay sections. I'm not going to be talking during cutscenes. I know the game fairly I know the game fairly well in terms of the story, but I've only ever actually like completed the game and played it really only once or twice. So there might be times when I get stuck. If I do get really stuck, then I'll obviously cut those parts out. You don't need to know this. Let's just get into the game, shall we?
Kain is deified. The clans tell tales of him. Few know the truth. He was mortal once, as were we all. However, his contempt for humanity drove him to create me and my brethren. I am Raziel, firstborn of his lieutenants. I stood with Kain and my brethren at the dawn of the Empire. I have served him a millennium. Over time, we became less human and more divine. Kain would enter the state of change and emerge with a new gift. Some years after the Master, our evolution would follow, until I had the honor of surpassing my lord. For my transgression, I earned a new kind of reward. Agony. There was only one possible outcome. My eternal damnation. I, Raziel, was to suffer the fate of traitors and weaklings, to burn forever in the bowels of the Lake of the Dead. Cast him in. Tumbling, burning with white-hot fire, I plunged into the depths of the abyss. Unspeakable pain, relentless agony. Time ceased to exist. Only this torture and a deepening hatred of the hypocrisy that damned me to this hell. An eternity passed, and my torment receded, bringing me back from the precipice of madness. The descent had destroyed me, and yet I lived.
Raziel, you are worthy.
Wow, this game, like one of the best intros of all
Oh,
time.
you, Raziel. You are worthy.
What madness is this? What pitiful form is this that I have come to inhabit? Death would be a release next to this travesty.
You did not survive the abyss, Raziel. I have only spared you from total dissolution.
I would choose oblivion over this existence.
The choice is not yours.
I am destroyed.
You are reborn. The birth of one of Cain's abominations traps the essence of life. It is this soul that animates the corpse you lived in. And that, Raziel, is the demise of Nosgoth. There is no balance. The souls of the dead remain trapped. I cannot spin them in the wheel of fate. They cannot complete their destinies. Redeem yourself. Or if you prefer, avenge yourself. Settle your dispute with Cain. Destroy him and your brethren. Free their souls and let the wheel of fate churn again. Use your hatred to reave their souls. I can make it possible. Become my soul reaver, my angel of death.
Alright, I had to tweak some settings there because emulators are fun. But either way, let's get into Soul Reaver. Now that is one of the best goddamn intros of any game ever. Like, it's just so freaking good. And it just gets you in so quickly as well. Like, it explains everything you need to know basically within, what, 5 minutes?
These gates twist space, laying a path across great spans.
It explains to you very quickly that Cain, or all the vampires, they evolve over time. And Raziel was fortunate enough to grow wings, and he evolved at a pace potentially quicker than Cain, but Cain was jealous and or envious and or worried that Raziel would maybe overthrow him. So then Cain ripped off his wings, cast him into the abyss for a lifetime of torture.
You are weak. You must feed.
The old hunger has left me. I have no desire for blood.
You are changed. Your bloodthirst is replaced by a deeper need. You have become a devourer of souls. To sustain your strength, you must hunt the lost spirits of the underworld and consume the souls of your enemies.
Yep, so the whole point of this game is you are a soul reaver. You reave souls, you eat souls, and that's how the health bar works. So yeah, you can fill up the health bar by eating souls. This is a soul fountain. Don't ask me lore-wise how it works, it just does. The game fundamental itself is action platformer, I guess is maybe the best way to describe it. It's got action element. It's an action game with puzzle platforming elements.
Your wings, though ruined, are not without purpose. Take hold of them as you leap, and they will carry you across this chasm.
I realize it isn't explicitly Soul Reaver 2's model for Raziel, but it definitely uses the textures. I think they might have just used the they might have just added more polygons to the original model.
What scabrous wretches are these?
Shua, the scavengers of the underworld. Their feral hunger has claimed countless souls, spirits who now shall never find their rest.
Now you might be watching it thinking, God, why the frick did you choose the Dreamcast version? That's like random as hell. Well, the controls aren't very good, I'll tell you that much, but emulating for the Dreamcast is easier than the PlayStation, and it runs better. Not to mention the fact that the Dreamcast version is the highest resolution version of the game, and it runs at 4K. No, it doesn't. It runs at 60 frames a second. You can make it run in 4K on this emulator, but my PC isn't really capable of 4K. Plus, it's not really designed to be in 4K. It's not a nice looking game.
Are your conduit between the spectral and material realms. With their aid, you may gather matter and will yourself to become manifest in the physical world. This is taxing, however. Your strength must first be fully restored. You require no conduit to return to this plane. You may abandon your physical body at any time.
So this is the key element of the game, the realm shifting. So, oh, the D-pad does work. Oh, I have set up the D-pad. Huh, interesting.
Sustain your strength to prolong your manifestation in the physical world. If you fail to feed or absorb too many wounds, this fragile matter will dissolve.
Yeah, so Raziel is a vampire who has evolved, and obviously because he was thrown into the abyss and revived by this weird squid god.
You are young yet, Raziel.
Sorry.
You still retain many of your vampiric weaknesses. Immersion in water, while not fatal, will dissolve your physical body, forcing your return to the spirit world. Be aware that in the spectral realm, water has neither heft nor lift. It stands as thin as air.
So that's actually the area we just came from. It doesn't look like it, but if you fall down there, you'll quickly find out, like I just did, that that is actually where you're supposed to be. I'm a freaking idiot. Oh wait, this isn't where you come from. Wait, what the hell? Where is this? I thought this bottom passage leads back to the other area. Are there two doorways there? Well, I have just learned something. Oh my god, that's where you come from. Which is also water, to be fair. Yeah, so what you saw there was I fell in the water and I died. Because, think like Sekiro, you know? Or something that has like two lives. You have the physical realm and the spirit realm, and yeah, basically I freaking died because I'm an idiot. Jumping has momentum in this game, and I didn't get any momentum when I jumped, hence why I just fell in the water. That's how you're supposed to do it, but I'm an idiot, so yeah. But what I was saying earlier is that Raziel has been brought back from vampirism to be this kind of demon thing that reaps souls. Yeah, and we'll learn more about that as we go on.
What are these creatures?
Do you not recognize them? They are the children of your brother, Duma.
That's impossible. These foul, scuttling beasts could not be kin of our high blood.
Do you suppose that time stood still for you, Raziel? Much has changed since you passed from the world of men.
Alright, so there's a big pool of water. Let's maybe not fall in the big pool of water. Yeah, we're fine.
I knew my opponent's weaknesses, having suffered them myself. Physical wounds are fleeting. A vampire's immortal flesh begins to close as soon as it is cleaved. Vampires need only fear those wounds that impale or inflame. Water scorches like acid, and fledglings are devastated by sunlight's touch. I would have to modify my tactics to suit my foes.
So yeah, this is one of the things I like about this kind of version of vampirism. So basically you beat them into like a stunned state, and then from there, if I can remember the buttons, you can use the environment to kill them.
Unfettered from the flesh, a creature's soul fades swiftly into the spectral realm. Draw it in quickly, Raziel, or you will be compelled to follow.
And another thing to bear in mind is that a lot of the times, if you don't get the guy's soul, it will return to their body and they will come back to life. I think that soul's gone. Also, sometimes souls can get stuck on the terrain like that, and it can get a bit fussy. Okay, I think if they're impaled, they don't come back, but if you might see later, if I use a weapon or something, if I was to pick up the weapon from their body, it would resurrect them because the soul's back in the body. It's an interesting little thing. So this is a poor human. Oh god, I've never noticed he's been ripped open. Oh, that's gross. Because Raziel is a demon of sorts, he's immune to typical vampire problems. I believe
your physical prowess surpasses what you knew in life. Even massive obstacles can be moved effortlessly.
From what I understand, though, especially from the intro, like something like the sun never really bothered them. In this world, vampires aren't really bothered by the sun. It's only the fledglings that are, because they're still developing. So the fledglings are like just new vampires. Sorry, I should have explained how this puzzle works. Basically, there's a block here. This game's full of block puzzles. It loves to use blocks. So this cube will help you reach this ledge up here, which you can't reach under normal circumstances, and that's you done with that room. It's a very short puzzle, but it's very good at teaching you the basics of how blocks work and how the general kind of flow of puzzles is going to go from now on.
My God! The sanctuary of the clans reduced to ruin. Beyond these walls lay the pillars of Nosgoth, the seat of Kain's empire. How humble it now appeared, collapsing into the dust of its former magnificence. And yet, I had only just emerged. In the instant between my execution and resurrection, centuries had apparently passed.
This world is wrecked with cataclysms. The earth strains to shrug off the pestilence of Kain's parasitic empire. The fate of this world was preordained in an instant by a solitary man. Unwilling to martyr himself to restore Nosgoth's balance, Kain condemned the world to the decay you see. In that moment, the unraveling began. Now it is nearly played out. Nosgoth teeters on the brink of collapse. Its fragile balance cannot hold.
So this game is part of the Legacy of Kain series. Now, it's a little bit complicated how the series works. Like the TLDR is basically that there was a game called Blood Omen, which was developed by a company called Silicon Knights back in like 1996 or something like that for PlayStation. So it's also a PlayStation game. There was some sort of rights issue where Crystal Dynamics and Eidos were able to create a sequel to Blood Omen, but they didn't want to make a Blood Omen sequel in its own. They wanted to create they were making another game called Shifter, and they wanted to develop that into a sequel for Blood Omen. And a massive lawsuit ensued where it was a messy situation, but basically Soul Reaver itself is actually a sequel to Blood Omen. It's kind of bizarre how it all works, but yes, we got it. I'm never able to do that, but I'm glad I was able to do it on camera. You all saw it. It all happened. It was real. Yeah, it was a big thing at the time. I mean, I was alive at the time, but I wasn't really paying attention. I grew up playing. I was interested in Blood Omen, but not so much the game, just the voice acting. We might play it on the channel at some point. I do have it running on the PC. I just haven't gotten around to playing it yet. I wanted to play Soul Reaver first because it's my favorite game, or one of my favorite games. We'll go into more of my thoughts about Soul Reaver later on down the line as we continue the game. You might be wondering why I actually came in here, because I just did this thing and a weird camera angle happened. This is this game's version of fast travel. This is one of the first games that incorporated a kind of fast travel system into its open world design. So those portals, you might remember at the very beginning of the area, we had a small scene that was like the Elder God was like, oh, this is a gateway into other dimensions or something stupid like that. Basically that's fast travel. Oopsie. Yeah, basically that's fast travel. So if I remember that symbol that was on the wall there, if I did get a game over, or I decided to quit out and come back in, I'd be able to travel back to this exact spot very quickly as well, which is quite nice.
This, at least, had remained constant. The endlessly swirling vortex of the abyss, my tomb, and the womb of my rebirth. Though much of Nosgoth's landscape had changed, these cliffs gave me my bearings. My clan territory was to the west. I was anxious to see how my descendants had fared during the centuries of my absence.